10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Through Black and White Eyes on this glorious bank holiday Monday. Don't know about you, but it's just a bank holiday Monday. It's pissing down with rain, just like always. So you might as well be in the house listening to a bunch of idiots talk about who we think Newcastle could sign from the teams that could potentially, I'm not saying they are going to go down. Well, 3 of them all, but we've got quite a few clubs to look at, 9 in total. So the usual stuff though, guys. Please hit the subscribe button. Please consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat, right up there. I've got the ticket to give away for the Southampton game on Wednesday. So if you want to be in a chance of winning that ticket, you've got to become a member before Wednesday morning. The afternoon, I pull all the names out of the system and I put them into a website, and then we'll do the draw on Wednesday afternoon. So please become a member ASAP if you want a chance to do that. And we've also got the Share Given signed shirt to give away at some point. That will probably be next month. There it is in all its glory. I watched them sign it. I know it's real. I was at the night. So promise you that is Share Given signature. And what a night it was, apart from the sound failing on my technology. 7-minute interview down the pan it was. Just my luck, basically. That's how it works. And a big thank you to everyone who is a member at the moment. You make this channel, you keep it running. The chat is obviously off the chart most of the times. It's amazing. And thank you to the mods who regulate the shows when they get the chance to and keep the chat flowing and do a great job. So thank you for that as well. Blade shaking his head in the background because I had a perfect opportunity to have an amazing interview with someone and I fucked it up. It's basically. So Shay, your lookalike was he was spot on, to be fair.
I'll give you his phone number if you want another interview.
I do need it, and I need to redeem myself. Couldn't believe it.
I'll give him a message and sort it out.
Sounds good to me. I had little microphones and everything plugged into my phone, full lot. When I played it back, no sound.
Yeah.
Devastated. Evening, Blade.
Evening.
Honestly, I was absolutely gutted. You have no idea.
Yeah, just thought you had a Morrow, didn't you?
I did. Massive Morrow. Bigger than a Morrow. But Morrow's late again, so... That just tells you what's going on in his head at the moment. He's always late. There's the link, guys, by the way, if you want to become a member to have a chance of winning the Southampton ticket and any other prizes we do in the future. Got loads of memorabilia to give away. Like I said, the Shea Given shirt. I think I've got a signed photograph of Nobby Solano to give away as well. There's a few things coming up. Mark says, evening. What a fantastic week. I'm guessing is what that's meant to say. We have had an unbelievable weekend, haven't we, boys? The results have just gone up. Apart from Spurs, obviously, and Man United winning, but winning 2 games on the bounce away from home was spectacular, wasn't it?
Superb.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was trying to work it out. I mean, I know we've got one more away game, but I was just thinking, just don't get 2 draws, just win one of them. And if you're going to lose one, just lose one. Just
I don't want to lose to Villa now, though. I do not want to lose to Villa.
But I mean, I went beat Villa, beat Brentford, and draw with West Ham. So I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I said Brentford was the hardest one, and it proved that the game was very, very difficult. Eddie Howe masterclass played, switched it up to 4-4-2, went to a 4-5-1 when we didn't have the ball because Isak dropped deep. But with Gordon coming on and Wilson coming on, they completely changed the game, didn't they, on Saturday?
They did, and it kind of shows that towards the start of the season, Eddie wasn't maybe making the changes as quickly as some of the supporters would have liked. In that game, he got it spot on, made the changes as early as he could. And yeah, after that, we bossed them. Second half, that was only one winner in that game.
There was,
I
wasn't
think Joe Linton and Bruno woke up in the second half, and I think that just changed the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Completely.
Even Sam, I've not seen your name before, so welcome to the chat, and I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you do, please hit the subscribe button. Did you see if Gordon has been suspended by the club? No, he hasn't. That is a party account. It's not the Newcastle account. There's nothing going to happen with Gordon other than getting a little telling off and a reminder that you don't mess with Eddie Howe. How's your wife, Gary? Yes, of course. How's she getting on?
Much better.
Sure.
Hence why I'm on the show tonight. She's able to put the kids to bed and stuff, so
Yeah.
much better.
No, I don't think Villa will be the toughest game. We've already had our toughest game, personally. We'll talk about that on Friday, and I'll tell you why. Eddie could do 2-2-5-7-1-2 and still... Yeah, you never know. Right, well, the whole point of tonight is to look at the teams that are threatened by relegation. I think Palace might have done enough, but you just never know. You get sucked back in. If a team wins 2 games and you lose 2 in a row, you're back in that relegation battle. So these are the teams that we're looking at. We're going to see which players we fancy from those clubs. Obviously, Mauro turns up. I've got his list of his names anyway, to be fair. He did message them over to me. But where do we want to start? Should we start? Blade, what teams did I give you again?
You gave us West Ham and Bournemouth.
Ooh. Let's start with Bournemouth. I think they're going to be safe, to be honest with you. I did say this a while ago. But there's actually a couple of gems at Bournemouth, isn't there, that we really should look at?
Well, I went for 3. I don't know. You've got the list. Which one do you want to go for?
You start off and just tell me. And then we'll discuss.
All right. So for Bournemouth, first one on my list was Billing.
Yeah, I like Billing.
Yeah, I mean, he started his career as a 6 as well, interestingly. I think it was when Woodgate was under Bournemouth that he moved him to a more progressive midfielder. And Billing's really intelligent. Like, he reads the runs really well. He arrives late in the box, chips in with goals and assists. I really like the look of Billing.
I mean, he's 26. He's got height on him. His preferred foot is his left foot. He can, like you say, play attacking midfield or a centre midfield. His average is not bad for a team that's, struggling. It's 6.94, so nearly a 7 every game. You might as well call it that. He has got a few goals from midfield. He's got 7, to be fair, which is actually quite good for a team that's down there. He does like to arrive late in the box, Gary. Do you see an advantage of him being... I mean, I would say he's a good squad player. He could have had 12 goals if he hadn't have missed his big chances. He's
the one I would have picked from Bournemouth. Obviously, I didn't look into Bournemouth, but he's definitely the number 1 for me. Did he play under Howe?
Ooh, he might have.
Because I don't
know. I think Howe bought him for the future.
Yeah.
Right.
2019
he moved to Bournemouth, is that right? Yeah, 2019. 14.6 million from Huddersfield.
Yeah. He's from what I've seen him of, he's a canny little player. Be nice to see him in, no disrespect to Bournemouth, but a better side and see what he can do in the better side. I know he's been, I can't remember which one it is, but he's been linked to one of the so-called top 6. I just can't remember which one it is. But
Brighton, maybe?
No, one of the so-called top 6.
Oh, big 6. All right.
Aye.
Tottenham then.
But I can't remember which one it is, but he's from what I've seen of him, every time you go on Match of the Day or anything like that, he's always the one that gets mentioned. And he looks a tidy player for me.
I agree.
And I reckon Eddie Howe could definitely get the best out of him.
Yeah. Versatile, which is what Eddie likes as well. He's a player that can play in many different positions. Defensive centre mid or attacking midfield, box to box midfielder. So again, there's room for him switching players out. Joe Linton, Longstaff getting a rest. He won't cost as much as Scott McTominay. Let's face it, 50 million Man United apparently touted a wanted for him, which is just shocking. There's no way we're spending that on him.
Even Luke said they won't spend that.
No, definitely not.
So,
but yeah, I mean, I like the looks of him. He's successful dribbles aren't great, but duels, he wins 5 duels a game, nearly 4 ground duels a game, and aerial duels 1 to 1.4. So you're talking like nearly 9 duels a game, which is very high for a centre midfielder. And I reckon he could be a player that Eddie could mould into someone who would work on our team very, very well. To be fair, yeah, I like Bill.
If Bournemouth do go down, he will definitely be another Premiership team next season.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Who that'll be, I don't know, but
yeah, that's going to be interesting. Colin, thank you very much for either upgrading or being a member. It doesn't tell me that; it just says you're a new member. So thank you for that. I'm sure I've seen his name before as a member. We knew Gordon was a little shit, but don't buy he's passionate. Eddie will sort him out. Look, if you watch my match review, you'll hear what I said about Gordon. No one likes being subbed on and then subbed off. Doesn't matter what time in the game it is, even if it's the last kick of the game. It doesn't feel right as a player, does it? Coming off the bench and then going back on the bench and then watching the end of it. He was frustrated. Yes, he shouldn't have done what he did. And he's young. Eddie Howe will stamp that out with him. He needs to know when to react and when not to react. You can be frustrated as much as you want, but you've got to sit on the bench and not react. But he'll learn his lesson. And there's just nothing to read into it, is there, Gary? Really, you just got to put this to one side, let the club deal with it, and then you'll be on the bench for the next game. He could even start.
I mean, Eddie Howe said after the game, no problem. It's being sorted. Exactly. I mean, what do people expect though? Do you reckon you're going to have 25 little angels in your team for the rest of your career? I mean, it's how you handle them. And Eddie will be a genius at handling them. And the player that sticks out for me was Craig Bellamy. And Bobby Robson dealt with him brilliantly. Souness completely destroyed it. So it's all down to the manager. Eddie will sort that out. Yeah, he was wrong, but bloody making a story of it, God's sake, honestly.
Well, exactly. I mean, let's face it, no player is going to be happy being dragged off. And that's a good thing to see as well, though. Like it shows the player's passionate, wants to do everything for the team, and he's frustrated at coming off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, full-time whistle. Eddie had his arm around him. They were both grinning their heads off. Team photo, Gordon's grinning like a Cheshire cat. Yeah, these things happen with football. The lad was unhappy at being subbed after coming on as a sub. Nothing wrong with that. Shows he's passionate and wants to play and earn the shirt and force his way into the team. Yeah. Got no problem with that.
Yeah, spot on, well said. Sam says no girly voice tonight. Unfortunately, not tonight, but definitely in the next coming shows, without a shadow of a doubt. We're trying to get one done on Thursday and Friday when Nelly or Lindsay or hopefully Caitlin can be involved and anybody else. He's finally arrived.
Hello, guys. Hello.
What's the excuse this time?
I was not at home. I was outside, and the traffic was painfully slow. Not typical for the small town of Dubrovnik. Really, it was not in my hands. It was higher power.
Higher power. I like it.
It's the Anthony Gordon through black and white eyes. You have them.
Yeah. Oh man. Yes, I mean the fans were absolutely fantastic for that game. They really were. Right, who else is on the Bournemouth squad that you like the look of?
This is a weird one because I've gone for Dominic Solanke. Now, the main reason I've gone for him is because Howe bought him at Bournemouth, said he was one for the future, So obviously House saw something in him then that he thought could work with. So I reckon if Solanke had stayed under Howe's managerial coaching style, he'd probably be a better player than what we're currently seeing. The other reason I went for him was because we do need a third choice striker. So I'm not saying he'd get in the first team, but as a third choice striker, he's tall as well, a target man, which we know Howe likes. That's why he went and bought Chris Wood. So yeah, they're the reasons I went for Solanke.
Yeah. Our budget's definitely not going to be 80 million, Mark. If we get in the Champions League with all the sponsorships that are coming in, there's no way 80 million is our budget. Not a single chance. I don't know who that was. Let's not, point them out, but that's clickbait in my eyes. Paul says no to Solanke. We're not saying we're going to sign them. We're just looking at players, at teams that are potentially going to go down, and there could be some gems in there. Yeah. He did sign them at Bournemouth. Mark, our budget will depend on various levels of income and where we are in the league and what competitions we're in. Solanke's still got good age on his side. He's still only 25. He could be a third striker. His anchor plays, his strengths, ball control, ground duels, or his weaknesses. Does he score enough goals? Or that's the problem. 24 games and only 4 goals. And you've got Billing from midfield who scored 7. That kind of sort of puts you off a little bit. 5 big chances missed. He's got 4 assists, though. So he's got 8 contributions in a team that's struggling. So that's not too bad. Yeah, I mean, as a third striker, you probably think, yeah, why not? But 200 million in the papers, maybe. I don't mind Solanke. I think he does a lot of running, does a lot of a bit like a Chris Wood, isn't he? Like you mentioned, he does do a decent amount of graft. Expected goals XG 7.57, so he's not scoring frequencies 537 minutes. It's not great, don't get me wrong, but it does have. I mean, Eddie Howe can work his magic on anyone, can't he? Let's face it. We'll come on to Everton soon, don't you worry. But yeah, why not? Dominic Solanke could be, if it's the right price. Potentially someone, if we're in the Europa League or the Conference League or something like that, he could come into his own while we've got Isak and Wilson pushing for the league to get into the top 4, something like that. You've got to have strength and depth, and you also need some English strikers as well. So, yeah, why not? Anyone else from Bournemouth?
Yeah, there was one that was kind of unsure on. I've forgotten his name, but it's the winger. He can play both sides. He's still quite young. I think he's played 11 times, 3 assists, no goals. So he's got like 36%.
Is it Haman Junior Traore?
No, it's the weird spelling one.
Dango Ochoa. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Is Antonio Semino?
That doesn't sound familiar. No.
I'm running out of names, mate.
Marcus Tavernier? Youngish lad.
Sorry? These
no,
are
definitely not him. Yuta something? Or Uatra something? I've mind blank, totally forgotten his name.
Is anyone else in the chat now who we're talking about? There's a shed load of quality in the bottom half the clubs are chasing. Yeah, exactly. That's why we're looking at it, you see. The only midfielders I've got that are young are 23, Jadon Anthony, Marcus Tavernier, 24, David Brooks at 25, Haman Junior Traore at 23, and then there's Dango Owachara, I think that's how you pronounce it. He's 21. And then there's Antonio.
That's him. That's him.
Dango Owachara.
Yep, it's that.
Yeah. Where's number 11?
Yep.
Hey, 21.
Yep.
Weakness is passing.
Aye.
To be fair, though, for the games he's played, he's got a 7.15 average, which is good. He's got no goals. He's got 3 assists, like you mentioned. What do you see in him that you think he would be a good squad player, I'm guessing?
Versatility, again. We know Eddie loves his versatility. He's predominantly right wing, but can play left wing. He's quick, he's direct, he's got some tricks, and he's got age on his side.
I mean, his actual defensive attributes are actually better than his attacking attributes, which is you don't really want to see as a winger. But total duels won 6.1 per game. Ground duels 4.1 per game. That's 10. And then aerial duels 2. So he 12 duels in a game, every game. That is very impressive. That's actually defensive midfielder quality defensive.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a strange one. Isn't one of our new scouts has come from Arsenal, I think. Thank you, Andy, for the super sticker. That's really nice of you. Hey Nelly the voice. Hey Nelly, hope you're well. New Xmas tree for Mara's. What's next? Hey Les and Mark. So yeah, defensive attributes are absolutely fantastic. His attacking attributes, not really that great, to be honest with you. But again, it's what you see in your eye as well, and what you like. Sometimes it's different to what other people like. And was that the last one for Bournemouth? I can't imagine there being any.
It was, yeah.
No, I thought Lemmer might get a mention because he is quite a good player, but he's 28 now, isn't he? So
yeah, I was saying young because I looked at it as are they going to be first team players, and if they weren't, I ruled them out and looked at more squad positions for strength and depth. So that's how I went through it.
Yep, perfect way to do it. Right, Gary, who have you got again?
Palace and Wolves.
Ooh, let's go Wolves.
That was funny because when you said to me, you gave me them two, and then two came off the back of cracking wins at the weekend.
Like, whoops.
Tell you what, Wolves was a difficult one. It was harder than I thought it was going to be. I've got 3 down.
Go on.
I'll get the obvious one out the way.
Neves.
Ruben Neves. I mean, spoke about him on this show time and time again. I don't think there's many people who wouldn't have him in our midfield. Score goals, assists, Premier League experience, tackles, hard work, and everything Letty liked. And what more is there to say about him, really?
Still only 26.
Exactly.
He looks about 34.
He looks old. He's God, like I said, 96-97% of Newcastle fans would take. So he was an easy one. Then I looked into Matheus Nunes. Right.
We'll just talk about Neves first in
Neves,
more detail.
Right.
Yes, I'll take Neves over Tielemans any day of the week. Simple as that. So he's 26. No outstanding weaknesses. His strength is positioning, so he's always in the right place at the right time, sort of thing. Say we want 5. What split between Raiden and you? Oh, it's a different question for a different night, that one, pal. Average in a team that's been struggling, 7.27 is fantastic. He's played 28 times this season, 5 goals. Has he got any assists?
I don't think he has this season.
No, I don't think he has.
No, he has. He got them last season. Hold on, I've got some of his stats up here.
But 5 goals.
He scored 5 this season and he's got no goals. Last season he scored 4, assisted 2.
Yeah.
I just think he's one of those, isn't he? He's also a leader. He's got a leadership quality about him as well. He's not an out goal scoring midfielder, but that's not his job. And what he does well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's 7 duels a match that he wins. He's got vision for a pass as well. So when you've got someone like Isak with the pace, or Wilson with pace up front, Gordon with pace on the right wing, or with Miggy, ASM, you can ping a ball out to them, can't you?
Well, it's Shelby's replacement, if that's what Eddie's looking for.
Neves isn't classed as homegrown. You have to be at the club for 10 years, I think, classed as homegrown, don't you? From the age of 15 as well, or 16 or something like that. But yeah, Neves is one that we've all talked about, we've all wanted. The obvious one. Who's next?
I said Nunes, but Nunes is a funny one because I remember when Wolves were linked with him in the summer, and I thought, well, we should go for somebody like that. But if you look at him stats-wise, if you go off him on purely stats, they're not very good.
No, I'm looking at 6.83 average.
I think this season, I mean, what I looked, it said 1 goal and 1 assist, but I don't know if that classes as the one he scored at the weekend. The one he scored at the weekend, have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Absolute thunderbolt.
Is it?
Yeah. But I looked at his stats a bit when he played for Sporting Lisbon as well, and I think he scored about 7 or 8 goals for them. Or Porto, however he played for, I can't remember. But I think there's a player there, he's 24.
He's still young.
He definitely hasn't hit his peak.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if his stats are the way they are because he plays for Wolves.
Yeah.
And Wolves have been poor this season.
I mean, defensive stats are fantastic. Again, you'd think he was a defensive midfielder. 10 duels per game that he's winning. That's ground duels, total duels. That's quite impressive, to be fair.
The only worry I've got with him is he too similar to Bruno? Is he another Bruno in the middle of the park?
Yeah.
Now, he's not as good as Bruno, especially going forward, he's not. So, he was just a name that I pulled out the hat because there's a talented player there. He's been linked with Liverpool. So, maybe Eddie could get the best out of him. Now, turn him from a good player into a top player. Now, we know what Eddie can do, so he could potentially do that with him. Oh,
definitely. I mean, there's so many other very good players at Wolves. If you've got Neto on the list, only 23.
I had him, but have you seen his stats?
I haven't seen his stats, but I'm just going off what you see for yourself as well, because normally play both wings. He's normally a very, very good player.
I'll tell you the next one I had was Daniel Pond.
No.
Winger, and if I got on the right page, he knows how to hit the back of the net.
That's true.
I think he scored 5 or 6. He scored 2 or 3 last season.
6 goals, 3 assists.
So he's one of those that his name never gets mentioned. He's the main man, but he's clearly got something about him, and I still think he's about 26 years old.
He is 27.
27. He was.
But you can play left wing, right wing, attacking midfield. Yeah. And I've always liked him. When he comes off the bench, I think he's always going to score, doesn't he? He just has that knack.
He's a bit of a pain in the arse. And there's definitely a player there. He can hit the back of the net. So, you know what it is? Apart from Neves is just one of those you just push to one side. Yep, Man United would have him. He's probably one of the ones I would put near the top that I would, depending on how much he was, he might be worth a shot at. But that was me 3 I had for Wolves. I did look into others, but nothing sprung out.
Yeah, there's nothing really. I mean, everyone mentions Adam Traore, but not for me.
Not for me.
Neto, Neves, Nunes. Yeah, Podence. I do like him.
I'm not a Jimenez fan. I was a couple of years ago. I'm not now.
Past it now.
No. Obviously, Diego Costa no chance. So the rest of them, I looked at the goalkeeper, but he isn't a bad goalkeeper. Him and his distribution's not too bad either.
Yeah, so a good point, actually.
But
again, age not on his side. He's 30, and we need a younger keeper to be coming through and taking over from Pope in the future, don't we?
Yeah, I looked at Isaac Kesman at the back. I can't remember. Yeah, I looked at him, but he's 29. He played quite well at the weekend against Chelsea, but I don't know. I think we can get better.
Yeah. Connor Cody is definitely a no for me. past it now. Plus, he's at Everton, isn't he? I know he's on loan there, but I think they'll end up trying to sign him. What teams have we talked about? Are they talking about Pacific players? We're talking about the 9 teams that could potentially go down, and we're talking about players that we think could improve our squad, not just the first 11, because we need a squad, but mainly about the squad. Though you're not taking any about Forest players. There's not many of them that we want, to be honest with you, mate. But there is one particular one that we will discuss when we get a chance. Mauro, who have you got to look at again?
I've got Everton and Leeds. And
let's go Everton first.
Starting with Everton, I could barely find 2 players that I would take from them. As you mentioned from Cody, they are either regressing in the last season or 2, or they are either just turning over 30 and getting older and probably not good enough for us anymore. They have a lot of those players, or just players that regressed. I can only... the only player that has made some progress in the Everton shirt is Alex Iwobi. He did something like Joelton transformation. So from failed winger, he became a very good central midfielder. And so one of the rare players that regressed. So anyways, back on topic. One player that I think is definitely too good for Everton team, and that's one of the really, really good and talented players that will become maybe even world class is Amadou Onana. And that's the player I would take from their team, and I just hope that he has some kind of relegation clause so we could get him on cheap. That would be amazing. He reminds me in a way of Cheikh Diote. He's full of energy, just running. He can run all day up and down, and really, really good in a defensive way. He can play both defensive midfield position and midfield, like box to box. And he's also very, very tall. He's almost Dan Burn size. He's 195 centimeters. But for his height, he's also very good on the ball and not clumsy as a lot of tall players are. So he's also 21, still very, very young, still has a lot of time to develop. And the interesting thing about him is he plays with both feet and equally good, and that's also a good thing. Really good in tackling, strong tackler, really good in ground duels, really strong on the ball, without the ball, high energy, and I think he has a big football IQ. He's I won't say like Bruno, but in a way. So he's always thinking one move in advance, what to do with the ball, and so I got some of his statistics here, if you like me to. So he has 26. Sorry.
Yeah, he's played 26 times. Yeah, or started 26.
Yeah, he has 1 goal and 1 assist. Not much, but yeah, for the position he plays, and especially for the team he plays for, it's not bad. He has 1.6 key passes a game, 2.3 tackles, really strong tackler, as I mentioned, 1 interception per game, and 1.1 clearance per game, and 6.3 duels won. And one thing that especially impresses me is only 8.3 possession lost per game, which is really, really good. Everything under 10 is really good. Really good. Yeah. Another player that I would maybe take, depending of the input our scouts put, is a young player. Well, not very young, 22 turn now. It's Ellis Sims. He's their striker. He's somebody that's recently just been coming into the first team. He's been loaned the first half of this season to Sunderland, out of all teams, and he had in 14 starts he had 7 goals and 2 assists, so which is not bad. And the last season he was loaned in League One to Blackpool, and he had 10 goals in 19 starts and 1 assist. Young striker that I think could potentially offer us to be a squad player, to offer us numbers. So he's not somebody that will go straight into the first team, but potentially coming in a rotation.
A good game against Chelsea, according to the stats. There's not much to read into stats because he hasn't played that. He's only started 2 games.
No. He's been loaned until the end of January, so he's just from February playing for the first team.
I mean, take this with a pinch of salt, but I work with a lot of Mackhams at work, and they said they wouldn't touch him at that.
Really?
Yeah, really. I mean, take that with a pinch, because it's Mackhams, but they said he wasn't good enough.
Very interesting. There's one you've moved over that I would consider at Everton, and it's been mentioned in the chat, is Demarai Gray. I know he's 26 now, but I think he's 7 goal contributions in a team that's struggling. He scored 4. Sorry, he's got 5 contributions. Scored 4, assisted 1. He's missed 3 big chances, created 5 big chances. He's a player I like. I like Demarai Gray. I wish 2.5 million Rafa signed him for Everton. It's a steal.
I feel about him, I feel that he's the player that promised a lot before and probably not delivered what he promised. So I'm not sure whether it's too late for him. 26. He's been solid, but nothing extraordinary. Maybe it's because of their shitty team, but I don't know. There is a lot of these players, like let's say Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So if he has a relegation clause, if he's somebody that we could get on cheap, like, I don't know, let's say 10-15 millions, that then would be willing to play, be a squad player, not guarantee him starts, he may be a good player to take a punt, especially because of his injury record. Then there is a player like the one I mentioned, Iwobi. He could be interesting player because he's been playing really good in that bad team. But a lot of other players like Ruben Vinagre, Dwight McNeil, Tom Davis, those are the players that have not progressed and that are stalling for a couple of years, and I personally would stay away from players like that. And now also Tarkovsky and Cody, which are good defenders, but they are on the wrong side of 30. They're over 30, and then you have Michael Keane the same way, also injury prone. Potentially Harry Mina, if he's 28, if he's somebody that we could get on cheap, really cheap, then maybe as a squad player also. But a lot of those players are I think we just overgrown them, and we are just now too good and need better quality players than the players in such Everton team. Do you want me to do the leads?
No, one at a time, mate. One team at a time.
Okay, sorry.
So, Everton guys, Gary, would you agree or disagree? I mean, I personally think all of the Everton players, no disrespect to Stephen in the chat, but I would say bench quality potentially.
Maybe Onana.
Yeah.
Maybe Onana, he could potentially play with Bruno and Big Joe.
I'm going off an Everton season ticket holder here.
Go on then.
There's only 2 players, well, 3, but Snake Pike including Pickford. He likes Iwobi, but he thinks Onana's too good to be at Everton. So, apart from them 2, and this is note against Steve in the chat, I wouldn't go anywhere near Everton at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, even Calvert-Lewin, I wouldn't even go near, to be honest with you.
I wouldn't have gone near him in his prime, honestly.
Maybe when he was banging them in, he looked all right.
He looked all right, but I'll tell you what, if you think St. Maximin's made of glass, then what's he doing? Because I tell you, he is, when they've needed him badly,
he's disappeared.
I don't know. He disappeared. Everton, tell you what, it might take Everton getting relegated one day for them to wake up and go, right, we need to do something serious here, because they are just getting at some point the bubble's going to burst for him because they've got nothing. I mean, I don't know what their youth system's like, but their first team is. I mean, they've got heart because Dyche has given them a bit of heart, but at the weekend they were shocking at the back at times.
Yeah.
And I mean, personally, that's where you look at them and go, that's where their strengths are.
Yeah, you would think that would be keeping
Cody.
goals out,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but at the weekend, at times, they were shocking. And I think they've got heart. I think they'll stay up this season, but they're going to have to do something drastic in the next few years because they're going to go at some point.
Yeah. Blade, what about you? Did any of the Everton players we've mentioned or anyone we haven't mentioned that sticks out for you?
Nana's the only one I'd consider, and even then, like Stephen mentioned in the chat, he hasn't been on it this season. Apart from the opening weekend where he scored a belter, bossed the midfield, looked like he was going to be quality, and then he's just been off the pace. I mean, they are playing shite, so I don't really blame them. But no, Everton, I think we've already poached the best young they've got, so no, avoid them.
True. To answer that question, 27th of April. It's an afternoon. It's an evening kickoff, I should say, 7:45. So it's a Tuesday or Wednesday. 27th of April, mate. Another big away game. Right, my turn. Southampton. There's a few people mentioned players that I haven't looked at, to be honest with you. I think there's only two that one of them could potentially scrape into the starting 11, but to be honest with you, both of them are probably going to be bench players. But James Ward-Prowse, he's getting I know it's the age thing and that we're all like to look at young, but he's 28 now. You know, his average is good considering he's in a poor team. You know, he's passing direct free kicks and playmaking is fantastic. Team of the week 4 times this season so far in a poor team that he's in. He scored 7 goals, 2 assists. That's 9 goal contributions, which is actually very, very good. So, yeah, I mean, it's the obvious one, isn't it, really? Key passes per game. He normally creates 2 key passes. He's created 7 big chances along with the 2 assists and 7 goals that he's got this season. So people say he hasn't got the legs to do the Eddie Howe press. And I personally think he would still be someone we could rely on from the bench. Blade, would you agree or disagree?
I actually thought about Ward-Prowse when you put the list up of what teams we're each looking at. And I agree, he hasn't got the legs to play it. He doesn't convince us as a number 6. Off the bench, I'd bring him on if we had a free kick 25 yards out in the 90th minute. That'd be it.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where you wish you could do like a bit of American football and send a kicker on. Could do that with Ward-Prowse. Go on, lad, get on, take the free kick and come back off again. Someone's mentioned in the goalkeeper. I'm not 100% sold on him. Do any of you guys think he'd be a good backup for Pope? Bazanu?
How old? He's quite young, isn't he?
I think so.
21.
Yeah.
21.
Keepers were shout, actually.
I mean, I never really looked at them because I mean they're quite poor at the back. But yeah, 21. He's Irish. Should have asked Shay Given about him, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Strengths of runouts. His weaknesses, long shot saving. You need to improve on that. It's all Pope ever does is have to save from distance. Our defense is that good. But yeah, there is one more player who I thought potentially could be a good squad player, and that was Salisu. It's only 23. Yeah. Still got time on his side as a defensive centre back. Again, he's left-footed, so it'll be backup for Botman, but we could be getting Ndicka because he's on a free. There's so many options. I mean, he's rating 7, and for a defender in the bottom of the table, that's actually quite a good rating, to be fair.
He's a really good centre back, really good.
I think so, especially at that age as well. He's the right age for Eddie Howe to get a hold of him. 5 clearances per game, tackles 2, interceptions 1.4, total duels won 5, and he does that through ground and aerial, so he can do both sides of the dirty work that needs to be done. And and he's not too bad on the ball either. So, if Southampton go down and we need a young defender that could be moulded into a very good centre back, I think he would be the one. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Southampton. They're the only two players, to be honest with you. There's nothing really else that really stands out.
Have you considered Romeo Lavia? He is the 19-year-old Belgian central midfielder. I think he's been, from a couple of games of Southampton that I've watched, he's been really outstanding for his age.
No,
19 years old.
to be honest with you. 19.
Yeah, really, really good. Nothing special, not consistent yet, but on occasions he shows that he can really be a special player one day.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, but other than that, there really isn't anything, is there?
No.
I feel sorry for Southampton. They're in big trouble.
Yeah.
Gary, your next one? Your next team? Palace. Yeah, Palace have got some good players.
Palace have got some very good players. When I've looked into Palace this year, I can't believe they're where they are, and they've been fighting relegation because they are far too good to be near the bottom. Honest. I've got 4. I nearly had 5, but I thought I'd be taking Ali.
I'm guessing Elise, Eze. You gone for Zaha or not?
Yeah, I went for Zaha, purely based on the fact that he's a free transfer in this one.
Yeah.
So, you cannot not be interested in Zaha, whether because of his age. This season, scored 6 goals and he's assisted 2, but he's had a few injuries. Last season he scored 14. The time before he scored 11. Would I have him now? That's the question. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Because I think personally the other 2 are the ones I would go for above him. But still somebody that you've got to look at purely based on the fact that he's a free in the summer. I mean, 2 years ago, you were talking about him going for 50 million.
Yeah, no, I get that, and it's just his age now, isn't it? It's his last move.
Yeah.
Do we really want someone like that? I don't know. It didn't work out when Man United did it, but again, you can't not say no if he's willing to come and he's got those goal contributions and he can replicate that in a better team and do better.
I mean, I can guarantee if we sign Zaha, I don't think we will, right? But if we sign Zaha, we can guarantee he would get us at least 8 goals next season.
Yeah. And
right?
that's
so
a better return than ASM, isn't it? Which we all talk about. I don't know why you put Thomas Partey in there because he's at Arsenal and they aren't getting relegated. Next one, Elise.
Elise.
Only 21.
I mean, I don't know if this counts from the weekend, but Elise assisted 3 goals at the weekend. At least.
He's got 8 this season.
Yeah, 8. I don't know if them 3 are added on. Right.
I'm sure they will be because then they're very, very quick on their stats on this website.
Elise is 21 years of age. He's got pace to burn. Him and Eze look very similar, man. The way they play the 2 of them. And I don't think you could have, I mean, I know Palace do this, but I don't think you could have both. Right? So you'd have to, for me, you would have to pick one of them to come here.
Yeah.
And I would pick Elise. Purely based on the fact that he's 21, Eze is 24. But Elise looks like, I mean, the cross he put in, and it was a cracking header by, I think it was Ayo, but he's just, he's a talented footballer. And he would fit in Eddie Howe's team like that. He would just slot right in.
Yeah.
And I think he's the type of player that Eddie wouldn't have any hesitation of putting him straight in because he's got Premier League experience as well. Eze is very similar. He scored more goals than Elise, but he hasn't assisted as many. But
Yeah, Eze's got 5 and 3 assists.
the link
So-
up play between the two of them, I know Leeds were shocking. Like, honestly, I understand Leeds were terrible, but the link up play between the two of them was very good, and I can see both of them. I don't see any reason why any of them two couldn't slot into our side.
No, I definitely agree.
They might not be starters to begin with, right? But they would definitely get game time under Eddie, and Eddie would definitely develop the two of them into better players.
I can imagine they both cost a pretty penny as well to try and prize them away from Palace.
Well,
but
I don't know who would be the more expensive now, because it's one of those. So I think, you know what it is? I think you could split the fan base 50-50. I think 50 would take Ezzy, and I think 50 would take Elisa. And just shows you how potentially good they are. But they haven't had great seasons. So I think it shows what Patrick Vieira did, to be honest, and how shite he was. Because Roy Hodgson's come in and got them two players. So
I've already been all over Steve about that as well.
Well,
I've been winding him up.
Yeah, but Steve will always done. I mean, you know why? He's like, he build every Palace player up. But these two, he will build up and build up and build up. And he will say they are top. They could be top quality players.
Yeah,
top quality Premiership players. The other one, I think this one would be absolutely perfect for us, and that is Mark Gurov. The centre back plays a centre back. I think he's had a few caps for England. Or he's been in the England squad. He's right-footed, and he would slot perfectly.
3 caps.
The bottom. 3 caps. He would slot perfectly next to bottom. He's 21 years of age. He's not a finished article. Still a bit raw. He won Palace's Player of the Year last season, so he's clearly got something.
Yeah.
And I think under Eddie Howe and playing next to Sven Botman, he could turn him. Them two could be potentially an unreal partnership. So that was the 4 I went for.
I've never thought about him, to be fair. When you think about Palace's defence, you just think the league goals, don't you? So you don't really...
Yeah. Well, I think the league goals, because Patrick Vieira just had them all out of the shot, and they weren't scoring goals, but he scored at the weekend as well. He clearly has something. I know it's Southgate, but he's been in the England squad.
Yeah.
So there's something there. I just think 21 years of age.
I wonder if he's got some sort of a heritage, which is why they brung him in early to make sure he didn't go anywhere else.
Out of every one of those 4 players that I named there, I think he'd be the one that Eddie would potentially have at the top of his list to fit in to that side right now.
Some shout. Did someone shout? No one shouted. Was going to. Oh yeah, Maro got quite loud on his microphone. I was going to warn him for blasphemy, and someone. All good players. I mean, is there any ones in there, Blade, that you would? I mean, that's a right field one for me, shouting out the defender. But Olise for me would probably be the one I would want.
No, I like the defender call. That's a good one. And the only one on that list that I wouldn't take is Zaha, just because he's old. The speedway player and the demands that he puts on his players, he'd just be injured permanently. So there'd be no point signing him. But the others, they're all good players.
Very good. Mauro, any insight on them?
I agree with Blade. I also wouldn't take Zaha. He may be still a good player. He can do a job, but I don't know. I've never liked him. From the start when he arrived on the football scene, I always disliked him for whichever reason. But I agree. Olise would possibly be a good candidate, and as Gary mentioned, Mark Guehi or how do you say that? But he's a really good young English centre back. Possibly Joachim Andersen, the Danish boy. He's still 26. I think he's leading in the clearances or something in the league. He's really solid. I think he was the one that got Darwin Núñez red carded at the beginning of the season. Do you remember the shithousery when he made him do a red card?
I can't remember it.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Anyway, he's also a solid defender, and that's about it from Palace squad.
Yeah, some good players though. It's a shame they're not going to go down though.
Yeah, they've got no chance. I don't think any of my two will go down.
No, I don't think now. But there was the chance that they could.
It doesn't mean you won't get the players. I mean, there's still a possibility, but I cannot see any of my two going down.
I agree. I'll quickly jump to one of mine because I've got 3 teams to look at, and there's only one player I would take from Forest, and that is Brennan Johnson. You know, he can play attacker, midfield, right wing, striker. He's absolutely quality. He's only 21. Forget about the rating. He's playing for Forest. That rating would go up. But team of the week twice. He's got 8 goals. He's missed 4 big chances, so he could have 12 potentially. He loves a dribble. He gets his foot in as well, to be fair, though. He's got 2 assists. I just like him. I like everything about him. And when Miggy drops off, Brennan Johnson could be perfect for our right wing, coming in on his left foot. How Eddie Howe likes it. And he's the only player from Forest. I mean, obviously, Forest have got a shite load of players, but they haven't exactly bought quality, though, have the Blade?
No, they've gone for numbers, which is understandable considering how many players they had on loan, and then how many players were like leaving, so they had no choice but to go for numbers. But they've made some good picks, like Lodi. I'd consider. Obviously, we've been linked with them in the past. Will he be first team? Not too sure. Especially with some of the left backs we could potentially be looking at. Yeah, that's about it from Forest.
Yeah, Brennan Johnson is absolutely quality, to be fair, though. Anyone else disagree or agree? Brennan Johnson would be the only one.
I agree on Brennan Johnson. I would add somebody in the mix. How do you say? Neco Williams. He is Welsh right back. I don't think he has shown enough. When you look at his statistics, he hasn't lit the world light, or how do you say? But from a couple of games I watched him, I think he has ingredients to become a really good player. He's the product of the Liverpool academy, and I think he would be better in a better team. Yeah, they are bad, and he can show his true value, but he's still only 21, and I think he's somebody who will become better and better and could be a really, really good player one day.
The reason why I didn't look at a right back is because we're kind of covered there, aren't we? We've already got a young right back understudy at the club, so
True.
I just thought no point in looking at a right back, to be fair. I thought we would.
You know what, I would add a name to the mix, but I don't know if we can.
Dean Henderson, yeah, I thought about him again, young goalkeeper, but he won't sit on the bench behind Pope, will he? I would definitely take him though. Quality. I don't know.
He was better than I thought he was as well. I wouldn't have him in our side, but Morgan Gibbs White's a better player than that.
Yeah, I like Morgan Gibbs White, but again, I just don't think he's good enough. Chris Wood. There's always one with the Chris Wood comment. Right, Blade, who's your last team that you were looking at?
Oh, Jesus, West Ham.
Hey, you know what name's coming up.
Paqueta.
But again,
actually, potentially no. I did name him as one of the 3, but I kind of question marked him just because I'm sick to death of talking about him.
Yeah.
So I'll start off
and he hasn't exactly done it though, has he?
No, he hasn't.
I
Well,
would
I'll
bet
go
my
with-
house he would be a good player in a good team.
He probably
I
would,
think
but he's
in
also
our team. Sorry.
All right, Declan Rice. We'll just go with the obvious one from West Ham. Declan Rice.
Quality. 24. It's going to cost a lot of money though. And does he want to move from London? That's the thing that gets me. But yeah, I'm 100% behind that one. 2 goals, 2 assists. 4.4 total duels, 3.3 ground. And he played well against us, didn't he, really? Even though we battered them, he was the only one that seemed to have a bit of heart and a bit of determination to still carry on going forward, didn't he?
I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's the defensive midfielder as well that allows Bruno to push forward, which was kind of another reason why I wanted to stay away from Paqueta, because bringing Paqueta in means you keep Bruno as the 6, which just kind of doesn't make much sense. But yeah, I'm just sick talking about Paqueta, so I avoided him. But Declan Rice, definitely.
The thing is, with this Bruno situation, I don't know if we're going to sign someone to move Bruno forward. I think we're going to keep him in the same place as a 6. I really do.
Yeah, that's what I think.
So we could be buying someone to replace him when he's injured, because he's always getting hit, isn't he? And we've got nobody of any quality to really sit in that position like he does it. So it's going to be interesting. Rice is obviously an obvious one. Who's your next one?
It's another obvious one. It's Scamacca.
Bowen. Oh, Scamacca. Really?
Yeah. I mean, his first season, I think he's taken some time to adjust. There's also the reasons Paqueta isn't performing at West Ham is because David Moyes doesn't really play through the midfield very much, unless it's give it to Rice and then let Rice bang it forward. Scamacca feeds off crosses. Now, we've got players that can cross the ball. So for us, coming off the bench, again, like Solanke as the tallest striker, big target man, then Scamacca, he's only 24 as well, I think would be a much better player for us than he is for West Ham.
Scored 3, missed 3 big chances, created 1 big chance. It's one of those things, you always take a risk when you buy in someone who's never been in the Premier League before, and this is why Eddie Howe likes to try and stay away from them sometimes, because they take a while to settle in and bed in. Isak has shown it's possible because he's just been unreal, but Scamacca has obviously struggled. We were linked with him quite a lot, to be fair, before we bought Isak. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure though. Anyone want to disagree with me? Blade's obviously saying yes. I'm on the fence for that one.
I'm not sold on Scamacca. He was a huge talent, but I think it happens what often happens with Italian players when they try to make a transition to English Premier League. They are just missing a little bit of pace, a little bit of technique. I don't know, but a lot of times it happens that especially Italian strikers, can't adjust to Premier League. On the other hand, some of the players in the past have adjusted and played great, like Gianfranco Zola, Vialli or so. But a lot of players haven't under the radar because they just can't make the adjustment. I am afraid Scamacca is a huge talent, but I'm afraid that he'll be maybe staying for 1 more year if West Ham don't go down, and then he will move somewhere else to continent and be a great player again. But I'm afraid that he will make this Premier League ever a success.
Could be a Hosselu, Gary.
Could be my opinion, just.
I agree with Blade.
Yeah, you take him?
Yeah, I've spoken with a few West Ham fans, and they said the reason he's doing crap is because of David Moyes. And they all say the same, that there's a talented footballer there. They reckon if Eddie Howe had been in charge of it, you would possibly, not to the level, but they said, you're probably looking similar to Isaac.
Interesting.
That's just coming from them.
No.
They're blaming David Moyes, purely
Well,
David
he's been
Moyes.
shocking, hasn't he?
And I think Scamacca scored goals in Europe this season. then I think it's just the Premiership where he struggled. But David Moyes goes attacking a bit more in Europe because he's got more confidence, whereas in the Premiership he just wants to sit and defend. And I think that hasn't worked for him. Who could I? You know what it is? I would class him in the not as good as he's, but like the De Bruyne Salah type of thing, where they first come into the Premiership, didn't work for them, went away, come back and turned the players off. I could see him being similar. Yeah,
he started 3 times in the conference and scored 3 goals. So he's not done too bad in that. Yeah, fair play. Any more on your list there? Bowen's got to be on the list.
He's not.
What?
I avoided Bowen.
I know he's had a bad season, but I think he's quality.
There's just something about him that I don't get. And I looked and I thought, does he improve with? And well, I thought, does he get into the starting 11? And I thought, no, he doesn't. So yeah, I avoided Bowen. 4
goals, big chances missed 4, 3 assists, big chances created 6. I don't know, and he absolutely toasted Dan Burn a few times, didn't he? I like.
Yeah, but that's Dan Burn. He's not a left back, so I wasn't going to judge him off that one performance where he did look decent.
True. All interesting. I would still take Bowen. A bench player, but again, I think we've got to get out of this mentality that we can only buy players that can jump straight into the first 11 because that's going to cost a lot of money. Sometimes you need a few that are going to help out. 22 goal contributions last year. I'm guessing that's Bowen he's talking about because he did have a great season last season. Something's just gone a bit wrong with him. Souček was class last year, and he's had a poor season this year as well, hasn't he? Kay says Bowen's better than Miggy, maybe all round, but not this season. Miggy's better than Bowen this season, but I get what you're saying. Right, Leeds, Morrow.
Yeah, can I just say one thing, please?
Go on.
Regarding West Ham, I would definitely take Paqueta because I think Paqueta, especially lately, has been going really, really good. Have some really good games, and he's been really totally misused by David Moyes. But even though he's been played in a couple of different positions, rotating and stuff, he's still shown that he has one key pass a game, but he also has 2.4 tackles, 1.4 clearances. So I think he would perfectly slot in our system 4-3-3 as a box-to-box midfielder because he really plays both sides, attacking and defensive. So I would still gamble on him, and I think in a system like ours, he would be having an impact like Bruno, so much better than in West Ham team. That's it. So Leeds. Leeds, starting with Jack Harrison. So he's not had the best of seasons, but he's been pretty solid, and I think he would be good for our squad general. He would maybe not get in the team in front of the fired up Miggy, but he would be somebody to fall into the rotation. He's 26-year-old, so still young enough. He's very good in. He would fit really good in our system, which is high pressing. He presses. He presses really good, and he has 1.2 tackles, 1.2 possessions won in final third, so 1.4 dribbles also, and 3.9 duels. So can play both right wing and the left wing, and somebody that could fall into rotation really good. And in 26 games, he has 4 goals and 6 assists. So
really
not
and
the best of seasons, but
as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, and 1.6 key passes a game. So to think that this is not his best season, but numbers are really good and solid, and he's somebody that if not too expensive, if it's good price, somebody that I would definitely take in our team. Second player is Tyler Adams, American. I think he's the captain of American team. He's still very young, 24. can play defensive midfielder and central midfielder. Really strong and tackle. I think he has a really strong football IQ too. And so in 24 games, he has 0 goals and assists, but he's playing defensive midfielder, so he's not somebody that goes into final third so much in those numbers. He still has one key passes per game, 3.7 tackles, which is among the best in the Premier League, and 1.5 interception and 1 clearance game and 6 duels won. So he's a really good option for defensive midfielder, really strong, and also when he wins the ball over, he knows what to do and how to play it for further. So he's somebody that, if also not expensive, I would definitely take in our team. There is another player that I would take. I'm not sure whether he would want to come and play second fiddle. It would be Ilan Meslier, so their goalkeeper. He's very young still.
Ago, I said I would look at him, but then you see some of the goals they concede and you think, but yeah, maybe behind a better back four, he might look better.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah, he's still very young, so he has a time to. He's only 23 for goalkeeper. That's like infant ages.
He's still got 15 years left potentially.
15 years left, yeah. And he's very tall, 196. He's really good and runs out. It's one of his stronger sides. And in this season, he played 30 games, has 1.8 goals conceded, which is a lot, but we all know how bad they play this season. And he has 2.8 saves and 0.9 runs out. So if he would be willing to come in and learn from Nick Pope, maybe play in cup games and be a second keeper, I would definitely take him, because I think he still hasn't reached his full potential, and he still has a lot to learn and grow.
And considering he's in such a bad team, he's got 5 clean sheets, which is still not too bad.
Yeah, true that.
A lot of people.
Other players. Oh, sorry.
Saying that obviously Jack Harrison is one that we've mentioned. He doesn't rate him. A lot of people don't rate Jack Harrison, but his figures are very good. His stats hold up. His assists. If you look at the other 14 account on Twitter, Jack Harrison as a midfielder is always up there. So he is definitely one to look at. I'm hoping you've got Nonto on that list.
There are 3 players that haven't lit the Premiership light this season, so their statistic is not the best, but I still think those 3 are talented players, and they could, in a better team, they could progress and be a good players one day. And those 3 would be Weston McKennie, who is on loan from Juventus, American midfielder.
Loans don't count because they don't play for Leeds, as in if they've got to be signed for Leeds, so when they go down, we could buy them. If you're going back to Juventus, it's a bit different. So
that's true. Okay.
Players.
Then I only have 2. So one is Colombian winger, Luis Sinistera, 23-year-old, can play left wing, right wing. Reminds me of idol Tino Asprilla in a way. He likes to dribble, he's good ball control, and he also good high pressing and block shots. Has 3 goals in 11 starts. Nothing special, but I think he has a huge potential from the days in Holland when I used to watch him. But he also good at high pressing, so the system that we play, and has 1.2 tackles a game and 1.1 dribble. So him and Wilfried Gnonto, 19-year-old Italian striker. He has
winger or whatever he is. No one really knows.
Left winger striker. Yeah, he can play in both position. In 17 games, 12 starts out of those, and he has 2 goals and 3 assists. 1.1 key passes, 1.3 tackles. He also presses. He's good in high pressing system, and 0.7 possession won in final third, and 4.4 duels. He's not playing great for Leeds this season, but he's shown flashes of potential and brilliance. And for such a young player, he already has 11 caps for Italy's senior team. And somebody that will grow and, if possible, somebody that we could take for our rotation of strikers and left wingers.
You haven't mentioned Somerville, the Dutch player. I think he's very good. 21, 4 goals, 2 assists. I don't know, every time he plays, he just seems dangerous, but he doesn't seem to start as much as I thought he would.
Yeah.
I don't think Leeds will go down. Hey, we're not saying they're going to go down. We're talking about 9 teams here. Only 3 can go down. So, John, we've got no idea who's going to go down. Apart from Southampton, they're gone. But I like Somerville as well. I think he's a very good player. Other than that, I wouldn't touch anybody else. Not in the defence, nowhere near. But yeah, Nonto's got to be the one. Gary, for one player that you would sign from Leeds, who would you pick?
Nonto.
Yeah. Blade?
Easy.
Same.
Yeah. I think we all like Nonto. I think he's probably their gem, to be fair. Didn't realise Barcelona were playing tonight. 0-0 at the moment. Nasty. Right. Falls on the last team, doesn't it? Leicester. And they are in big trouble.
Oh.
Now, apparently, they've just got a... Who've they brought in? Adams or someone?
Smith. Smith.
Tete.
That's it. Smith, isn't it?
Dean Smith.
Dean Smith, yeah. So he's now the manager of Leicester, is on a, which is mental because they're bigger than that, Leicester, and they're in a lot of trouble. And I don't think he's the right man for the job. But they did try for Rafa, but it fell through. But let's have a look at the players that I would sign. So I would consider Wilfred Ndidi. I know he's not had the best season. He's been ravaged with a few injuries. But I still think he's got a lot to give. Would anyone disagree?
No.
Ndidi? Because, last season he was fantastic, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was good last season. Dropped off a bit this year. He's had a few injuries. Still a good player.
Yeah. I really do like him. Total duels 4, 1. He's only played 15 times, which is not like him. He's normally someone who would fight the whole season, but still at 26, he's still at a good age. So he's someone I would definitely look at if Leicester go down. There's a good chance they will as well. Harvey Barnes, again, another quality player in my eyes. Left foot, it's kind of that ASM area. Never seems to be injured, though. He's started 27 times for Leicester. He's got a few weaknesses, though. Aerial duels, ground duels, and ball control, which is a little bit worrying when you look at that. But look how many goals he scored. 10 goals. He's missed 8 big chances. The one thing I don't like, he's only got 1 assist. But if you score in 10 times, you don't really need to assist too much. So his 11 goal contributions is pretty good. He's created 3 big chances as well. And I just like him. I think he's an honest player. He's hardworking, and he does do a lot of graft. And I say he's scored 10 goals, so why wouldn't you want to consider him? Obviously, James Maddison, we all know the love affair with James Maddison in Newcastle, but obviously Spurs now apparently interested. He has had a bit of an injury. He's only started 22 times this year. Team of the week 4 times. He's scored 9 times. He's assisted 6. That's 15 goal contributions. He's created 8 big chances that haven't been taken. His expected goal is 4.48, which is amazing. Scoring frequency 211 for a midfielder is not bad. Key passes per game 2.3. So that means he's creating 2 chances per game. And he even gets stuck in as well. He's nearly got 5 total duels, and most of them ground duels as well. And he does play the high press. And he's also someone you can mix the formation up with because he can play attacking midfield and also on the right wing. So obviously Madison's the obvious one, isn't he? And the last one is obviously Dewsbury Hall. I do like this lad as well. He's only 24. You can play DM, MC, and AM. So attacking midfield, centre midfield, and defensive midfield. Started 26 times. Total duels, nearly 5 again, which is really good. Big chances created, 3. He's got 2 assists. He's only got 2 goals, but he's not. And he can hit a ball as well, to be fair to him. But Dewsbury Hall would be the other one. They're the 4 I would pick at Leicester. I mean, there's a couple of other half-decent players, but they're the standout players for me. Would you agree, Gary, or disagree?
Looking at the 4 you've mentioned, it makes you wonder how they're down there at the bottom.
Yeah.
Clearly something wrong with that.
It's the back line, though, isn't it?
They didn't score goals, have they?
Well, I mean, Madison's got a load. Barnes has got a few. I mean, between them two, they've got like 20 goals between them. Just those 2 players. And you wonder why they're down there. But then you look at the games they concede. Look at Spurs game. They got home 5-3, didn't they? Or something like that. And it always goes back to the defending. I wouldn't go for Daka. I wouldn't go for Tillemans, even though I do believe we're sort of interested. Luke Thomas is not the left back that we need. He is a left back, isn't he? I'm sure he is. Yeah, I just don't agree with that one. And Didi, Madison, yes. Barnes, yes. Taking Madison away, let's just say he's gone to Spurs. Who would be your next big one from Leicester?
Barnes.
Who, sorry?
Harvey Barnes.
Harvey Barnes, yeah. I agree with that one. Blade, what about you?
Yeah, Barnes.
Yeah. I think Barnes, I think he's got a bit more about him than most of the players. He's very direct, isn't he, compared to the other ones. Mauro, what about you?
Probably the same, Barnes or maybe Ndidi, but he's really, really very injury prone, unfortunately.
Stephen saying I'd take Bruno from Newcastle along with Isaac, Trippier, Botman, ASM. Sorry, I forgot we're 3rd from top and not 3rd from bottom. I think you'd just take our whole team, to be honest with you, mate. I mean, I know Pickford, you'd probably argue, could slightly better than Pope because of his distribution qualities. But yeah.
Pickford.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I wouldn't take Pickford. No way.
Yeah, but you can argue it though, because Pickford's number 1 and Pope's not. So I know it's horrible to say that, but
it's the opinion of Gareth Southgate. So it's not really. It doesn't mean much, at least in my opinion. His choices are not as, I don't know, smart often.
Well, we know that. Got what you were saying there, Gary? Sorry.
I was going to say, everyone knows players Stephen mentioned will probably get in the Liverpool side.
Yeah.
Everyone.
I mean, they're struggling.
I mean, ASM's the only one who I'm not sure about. Bruno, Trippier, Isaac, Botman would all get in the Liverpool side right now.
Dewsbury Hall's only on 35k a week. See, they're the things to look at as well, isn't it? Is can we offer better contracts to players as well? But they're the players I would pick from. The Tillemans, I've said no to. I mean, we've all watched him and we saw how poor he was at St James's Park. We weren't impressed for someone who was meant to be impressing his next or potential next club, and it didn't really happen, didn't it? Let's talk Diaby. It's not that kind of show tonight, I'm afraid, but Diaby is someone we really, really want. But PSG apparently sniffing now, and it's a club that he supports. So that is going to be very, very interesting to whether we can prize him away or not. I hope so. Blade has had the information that we're very high on our list, and advanced talks and all this sort of stuff. But if PSG come knocking, it might be a little bit too early for us. You just never know. But I hope he doesn't go there. I hope he comes to us. I really do. But that covers every single team in the 9 teams that are threatened by relegation. We'll go around the houses. Gary, who are the 3 that are going to go down?
Southampton.
Yeah.
Forest. Leicester.
So the 3 that are in the bottom now.
Yep.
What about you, Blade?
Southampton, Forest, Everton.
Ooh. I think it all depends if Everton get that the points deducted.
You know who Leicester have got?
Oh yeah.
Who have Leicester got next? City.
Away to Man City.
Brilliant. Come on, Blade. What about you? Not Blade. Morrow. Sorry.
Southampton, Leicester, and Everton. I've checked Leicester schedule. I think they have a really, really tough one, and yeah, I think they will be dropping. And Everton is more of my personal wish than also pretty high reality. But yeah, those 3.
I'll tell you what, I'm deep shit lead.
Yeah.
Leeds
I don't think it will be
They
Leeds.
can't defend.
I think Leeds have enough quality to scrape it through. They have a really good squad. I'm surprised they are even in the relegation fight so late in the season.
It's interesting, isn't it? And I'll tell you who I'm going to go for. Everton will stay up unless they get the points deduction for me. I think Southampton, Leicester, Leeds. I think Forest is home form if they pick it back up again. And I've seen Leeds as running. Leeds have got horrific running as well. And I think Forest might just get enough points to get out with that. And I can't see, I'm struggling to see Leeds pick up another win. I know they've got Everton soon, which is a massive 6-pointer. So it depends on what happens there. But I'm going to go Southampton, Leicester, Leeds.
Leeds play us and Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I just can't see Leeds winning. Southampton,
There is
Leicester, Everton, says Facebook user.
There is a lot of games between those teams, so it will be really, really interesting.
Yeah, Leeds, Forest, Southampton. That's
they'll
so
play each
Leicester are
other.
going to escape. I just don't know if the manager that they brought in, Leicester, going to do it. Is Dean Smith
agree.
really the right man?
they've brought in a knacker of a manager. They've got Man City away next, so you can write that one up.
Yeah.
When you're getting beat 1-0 at home to Bournemouth, that's it for me.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I did say a few weeks ago that I thought Bournemouth would have a very good chance of staying up just because there are only ones down there that look like a team and they're playing as a team. How many points will be safety this season? That's a good question. Wolves are on 30,
Less than
33
40
at the moment. There's Palace. 27. I think 39 will probably do it. Because that means Forest will need to get another 12 points and a better goal difference to stay up. From there. So I think 39 points will do it.
I think lower this season. I think 36. 36, 37.
So you're saying Palace are one win away from safety?
Pretty much, yeah. I think there's too many teams down there and they've all got to play each other still. So I think it's going to be a record low.
Yeah, it all depends of who comes out on top and whether there's draws in there, I suppose. Not the tune. 35. Oh, I think 35 is a bit too small. But yeah, Stephen, I think you stay up unless you get a points deduction. Then I think you're screwed. So that's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens there from now until the end of the season. Right. That's the end of the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow night on the channel with the Premier League review with the other lads who come on from other clubs. It should be interesting. Steve can talk about the magnificent Roy Hodgson coming back and saving his club. I'm sure he's going to love that. And have Arsenal blown the title? We'll discuss that as well in some dubious VAR decisions. The 19th of April, we've managed to get Keith Hackett to come back on the channel. He did one
That's really cool.
long time ago. Yeah, I'm really looking
That's
forward
really
to
cool. Good achievement.
We've had him on before, and I just thought, got to get him on again with all the stuff that's going on at the moment, the poor VAR decisions, the penalty decisions. So we're going to be doing that at 8 p.m. on the 19th of April, so keep an eye out for that. Get your questions in early, and then we can let the show flow. I just hope his internet's better than what it was last time, because it was terrible last time. It was cutting in and out all over the place. And we've definitely got the look ahead on Friday, because I'm at work Saturday, so there'll be no watch along, unfortunately. But we've got to beat Villa. But tune in on Friday and find out why I think Villa is an easier game than Brentford. And hopefully we'll have a Villa fan with us, fingers crossed. But thanks for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to become a member. And thank you to everyone who is a member. And on Wednesday daytime, I will do the draw for the Southampton ticket. So good luck to everyone who's a member and has a chance of winning it. But thanks to you guys, as always, for doing some homework this time. I thought that was a good chat about who could be available. Take care till next time.
Right.